Welcome back. You're still watching Politics HQ. My name is Kofi Bartels. Now let's go to Kano State. Now, despite a ban on Thursday on all durbars in Kano during the Eid celebration by the Nigeria Police Force, the traditional Sallah durbar activities in Kano State, guess what? They held as usual. On Sunday, that's yesterday, with Muhammadu Sanusi II, the mayor of Kano, participating in and leading the Eid prayer at the Kofar Mata Jamaat Mosque with Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State and other top government functionaries from the Kano State government in attendance. No surprises there. Now, what of deposed Aminu Bayero after he announced the cancellation of the durbar activities himself during the Eid al-Kabir? Bayero did a U-turn and observed his Eid prayer with a large crowd of faithful at the Nasarawa Palace. The Nasarawa Palace is a mini palace of the Kano Emirate where he has operated from since returning to Kano after being deposed in May. Now, the police spokesperson in Kano State gave a reason for the ban. She said the ban was to ensure the safety of life and property in the larger Kano community during the celebration. Of course, Sanusi and Bayero are currently laying claim to the position of Emir of Kano. As a matter of fact, I was looking at Bayero's Instagram feed this evening, and can see that he's described as the Emir of Kano. He's describing himself as the Emir of Kano. For instance, video of sort of a durbar. He's riding on a horse. His supporters are surrounding him, and he says it's from the Emir's palace. Well, Sanusi's reinstatement followed the repeal of the law in Kano State that the former governor Abdullahi Ganduje used to depose him and exile him in 2020. Remember that incident. Now, on May 23, a federal high court in Kano ordered the state government not to enforce the Emirate Council repeal law. Of course, that law deals with the 5 emirates created in Kano, separate from the deposition of this particular Emir Bayero. Let's look at the latest from Kano State Emirate. We're joined by Sam Yohana, who's the immediate past organizing secretary of the All Progressives Congress in Kano, Kaduna State rather, which is not too far from Kano State. Sam Yohana, good evening to you. Thank you very kindly for your time tonight. All right, Sam, what's your take on the reason the police gave for banning, in quote, all durbar and related activities in Kano State for the period of Eid al-Kabir? Because we know that we usually have a durbar during Eid al-Fitr, and we usually have a durbar during Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Kabir. But the police is saying that they're asking the durbars to be placed on hold because they are concerned about the safety of life and property. What's your take on the reason they gave?
Thank you. If I understand what the police commissioner said some few days ago before the Sallah celebration, he addressed a press conference that for this Eid al-Kabir this year, there won't be any Sallah durbar celebrating the festive period. Reason because these 2 people that are alluding to the Emir of Kano are people that have large supporters in Kano. And if the relevant authority haven't come out to put this in place, that there will be no durbar on that day, if eventually any of them goes ahead with the durbar, God knows what will happen. The reason because both of them are alluding to the truth. And Mr. Kofi, it will interest you and other Nigerians to know that these 2 people tussling for this emirship throne are brothers. If I remember very well from my history, Emir Sanusi, that's the 14th Emir of Kano, grew up in the house of late Alhaji Ado Bayero. And Alhaji Ado Bayero is the father of Aminu Ado Bayero. It will also interest us to know that one of the wives of Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, it's a daughter of late Alhaji Ado Bayero, which is a sister to Aminu Ado Bayero. So you can see how close these 2 people are. But moving forward, my take on this Kano Emirship Tussle is it has to be handled with care because it's a very sensitive issue that if it continues like this, like I said earlier, God knows what would have happened because Kano is a very, very volatile and densely populated place.
So you agree with the reasons given by the police for placing sort of a, what they call it, a ban on that, on the durbar?
Yeah, I agree with the police commissioner. Absolutely, I agree with him.
But the Kano State government said they were not, yeah.
Say again?
The Kano State governor said he wasn't consulted.
Well, that could be an administrative statement. Because if I'm in Kaduna and I watch the press conference granted by the police commissioner, I see no reason why someone in Kano wouldn't have maybe listened or watched this press statement.
But the governor is the chief security officer of the state.
Yes. Mr. Kofi, you see, the whole of this thing, politics has taken a greater role in the state. And the way it's going, if another governor comes tomorrow and he doesn't like the face of any of the two of them, he brings in another person as an emir. And you can see how the something could snowball into another or something else. So the issue whether he got it officially or he didn't get it, two gladiators in Kano, two political gladiators in Kano have taken side with the two persons that are alluding to this seat. So it is what the other one said versus what the other one will say. So we have to apply wisdom when listening to these two principal actors, these gladiators, like I said earlier on.
But we have a governor in Kano who he's in charge now. If the police commissioner goes ahead to take a decision to ban a traditional and religious festivity as big as the durbar of the Kano Emirate, of which the Kano executive, the governor, is the one who awards or recognizes that stool, is it not a breach of protocol? Rather, one would expect that probably the CP would reach out to the governor and go see him and say, Your Excellency, this is what we need to do at this time. Don't forget, we have a State Security Council.
Well, Mr. Kofi, the governor has said he has not been communicated officially. That's the side of the governor's story. So let's wait and hear if there will be a counter distinct from the Commissioner of Police. For every story you hear, there's another side. So I think I will want us to wait and get a response from the Commissioner of Police to confirm whether he communicated to Chief Security of the State officially or he didn't. So I don't want us to conclude now, believing that the Chief Executive Officer of the State wasn't communicated to officially.
All right. We'll come back, take your thoughts on what the activities that held on Sunday, both at the Emir's Palace, the main one, and the Nasarawa Palace, the mini palace, where Bayero is operating from for now. We'll take your thoughts on that when we return from our break. For those of you watching, stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're still talking about the Kano State Emirate tussle, and of course, the fact that both emirs are still laying claim to that stool, both the deposed one and, of course, the one that was reinstalled. Our guest still with us, joining us virtually from Kaduna State in northern Nigeria, Sam Yohana, immediate past organizing secretary of the All Progressives Congress in Kaduna State. Sam, the durbar has held. We've had the Eid prayers, of course, the one with Emir Sanusi, Muhammad Sanusi II, and at the mini palace, the Nasarawa Palace, with Bayero and his supporters. I was looking at pictures just before, while preparing for this program. We had quite a number of people, a crowd, with Bayero. What's your take on the fact that these durbars held, despite the police placing what they called was a ban on durbars?
Like I said earlier, Kano is a very strategic place, and Kano has a lot of population. And honestly, if you put a law in place or an order in place in Kano, you have to make sure that it's properly enforced. If not, a lot of people will violate it. What happened on Sallah Day, I saw a video trending yesterday where after the Eid prayer, the chief executive of the state was leaving the venue of the Eid, and there were people shouting in Hausa, Bamai, Bamai, meaning we're not with you again, we're not supporting you again, this, all kind of using derogative words on the governor, ranging abuses and other things. So you see, for both to take place simultaneously at different locations, that shows that even the press conference addressed by the governor was not, adhered to. And honestly, the earlier the better, the president or whoever, can step in and see how this thing is managed properly, so that it doesn't get out of hand. And you can see that Emir Aminu Bayero is in a palace somewhere in Kano, while Sanusi is another palace in Kano. So, like we said earlier on, both of them are alluding to this throne. And it's become a dicey situation. And lest I forget, there's a fine imposed on the Kano state government from a particular court regarding infringing on the fundamental human right of Aminu Bayero, who challenged his detention after he was deposed of the throne. I remember something like this happened when Sanusi was also the throne, when he was banished to away in Nasarawa state. And I remember he challenged that banishment, and he got a judgment in his favor in the court. And that warranted him to be coming to Kano even after he has been dethroned. Because by law, once you're dethroned, you can't come back to that jurisdiction while you're under banishment. But after Sanusi got judgment in his favor, he was coming to Kano at will. And
are you talking about Sam Johanna? And I'm aware you are of the APC, like you said, this is political. Some of your party men are taking sides. It seems to be the APC for Bayero, the NNPP for Sanusi. But are you talking about the judgment in favor of Sanusi, Muhammad Sanusi II, which overturned his banishment, overturned his removal?
Yes, overturning. No. The removal was not overturned by the court, but the infringement on his fundamental human right and banishing him that on no account should he visit Kano while he's under banishment. But by the time he went to court and challenged that banishment, he got a judgment in his favor that allowed him to come into Kano at will. So now what Aminu Bayero did was to go to court to challenge the infringement on his own fundamental human rights, because when he was dethroned from the throne, he was given 48 hours to vacate the palace. So even before the 48 hours elapsed, I think security agents had already surrounded the palace.
It was on the order. It was on the order of the Kano State government to the police CP to arrest Bayero
at that time.
Yeah, and the CP refused. The CP refused to arrest him, but he still went to court to enforce his fundamental rights. And the court gave him that judgment of 10 million naira.
Yes, as a bona fide citizen of this country, he is entitled to go and fight for his fundamental human right. And I think he's got a judgment in his favor, where there's a fine of 10 million naira on Kano State government. And as much the Kano State government said they've not received the copy of the judgment. I'm sure, as it's panning out, the Kano State government will certainly go and challenge that judgment, to appeal that judgment.
All right. Some have said, you know what? When the APC were in power, Ganduje was there. He used his office to remove Sanusi, and Sanusi left quietly and never laid claim to that throne. And now Bayero has been removed by a new sheriff in town, which is Abba Yusuf of the NNPP, and that he should go quietly, just like Sanusi left quietly. Soldier come, soldier go. Sam.
You make me to laugh. Let me tell you, different strokes for different people. Yeah, there are instances where you just let certain things go. Well, there are instances where you insist that, no, I'm not going to go. I have to see the end of this. So if at that time Sanusi said, no, well, no issues, no hard feeling, no animosity, life goes on, I move ahead, fine and good. Well, for Sanusi Aminu Bayero said, no, I'm not going to go anywhere. I have to challenge this, my dethronement. This is, well, it's up to him. But as the days pass by, we will see how this things will play out. But all I keep saying is that it should be managed properly. It should be managed properly because Kano is volatile.
All right.
You need to see the video of what happened after the Eid prayer yesterday. I'm sure if security agents had not managed it properly, probably they would have people start, throwing all kind of object and this into the convoy of His Excellency. So my advice is it should be managed properly. Okay. This is an emirship, Emirates that have lasted for over 1,000 years. So who wouldn't want to see it? Going into fragmentation now and probably might even be cannibalized in the future.
All right. We have to go. And that court order or judgment, the ruling I was talking about was a restraining order on Ganduje from taking action over Sanusi, from removing him. That was never set aside. We want to thank you very much for your time, Sam Johanna. It's great to have had you on the program tonight.
Thank you for this opportunity, Kofi. Anytime.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. And of course, that's how we wrap things up right here on the Sallah edition of Politics HQ. Of course, I want to wish you a happy holiday and Baraka de Sallah. From all of us here, I'll return tomorrow with more on Politics HQ.